Welcome to a little friendly fire with a special guest, Liz Wheeler. Liz and Jason Whitlock, little friendly fire. We'll go back and forth. Liz, I when you tweeted this out a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I can't believe I'm gonna have to disagree with Liz Wheeler. I'm a huge Liz Wheeler fan. But Bud Light and the deal they cut with the UFC, I think is a great victory for our side. They're spending their money with UFC and Dana White. And I think I've been proven 1,000% right by this. But did you see the video this week of Dana White and Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson and Kid Rock all going to a UFC fight? Let's play that clip, and then I want you to tell me why I'm wrong and why you're right, and then I'm going to tell you why I'm right. But let's play the clip.
How strong that team is, making his way into the building. One of the bigger mixed martial arts fans I know, President Donald Trump, taking his octagon side seat for UFC 295. We got two title fights coming up at UFC 295 here in a matter of moments, live from Madison Square Garden. And President Trump will be here to witness all of it. Four of the very best fighters in the world set to take their cracks at light heavyweight and interim heavyweight gold, respectively. We move over to pay-per-view shortly. Thank you all for being here for the prelim coverage. But as you know, best is yet to come. Main card for UFC 295, live on ESPN Plus pay-per-view from Madison Square Garden. Starts right now.
See, I love it. This is what Bud Light signed up for. We forced them to do business with a man, Dana White, who will not sell out, who stays on brand all the time. He's totally fearless. I just think Bud Light having to get back in bed and pay the UFC nearly $100 million. I think that's a win for us. Why do you disagree?
Well, first of all, I think you're absolutely correct that video is thrilling. I mean, you see President Trump walking into this venue with all these people. It's like the heart and soul of America. So often we see the left just trashing him, whether it's on X, formerly known as Twitter, the mainstream media. So I love that video. Nothing against that video. Here's why I don't accept Bud Light's $100 million pseudo apology through the UFC. This is how I view it. If your spouse was unfaithful to you, if they cheated on you and came back and begged you to take them back, but didn't ever apologize. Like they never said, I'm sorry that I cheated on you. I regret that. I feel contrite. I'm so sorry. Let's fix this. You wouldn't accept that spouse back. You wouldn't accept them even if they gave you a $10 million diamond ring, because you have to know that they don't just want to move forward from here. You have to know that they're sorry, that they understand the depth of what they did. That's how I feel about Bud Light. All Bud Light would have to do is look the American people in the eye and say, we are sorry for partnering with Dylan Mulvaney. We are sorry for propagating queer theory. We understand the existential threat that this Marxist ideology poses to your children, to our nation, to everyone's families. That's all it would take. Conservatives are actually very forgiving. We're not resentful. We want to extend forgiveness. We want to welcome people back into society, but we will not tolerate a woke corporation going after our children, especially, Jason, I find it insulting that they think they can buy me off even for $100 million to an otherwise fairly conservative organization. I don't like that.
So, Liz, you sound like a younger version of myself. And you sound like how I got to age 56 unmarried, because I was the type of person that when I was proven right, I like to rub people's nose in it and that apology, that's not enough. You need to do more. You need to do even more. And, I want them to wear their mistake constantly rather than just moving on and accepting their new behavior. I'll stay in your analogy. Let's say a man disappointed you and, didn't live up to, you guys had plans on your birthday and he showed up an hour late and didn't have a good excuse. But then for For the rest of his time there, he was always 5 minutes early. He never disappointed you in that way again. Do you really need the apology, or wouldn't you just accept the new behavior and move on?
Well, I think that that's two entirely different things, because being an hour late might be thoughtless and rude, but it's not inherently immoral. That's why I chose the analogy to infidelity, because infidelity is inherently immoral. And that's what Bud Light did when they partnered with Dylan Mulvaney, when they propagated queer theory. Jason, you and I agree on queer theory. We think it's evil and wrong to trans kids. We know that we're going to look back on what the left has done to our children the same way that we look back on some of the medical atrocities in history. And we know even worse than that, that it's underpinned by an ideology that is anti-Christian, anti-American, anti-Western civilization. So I'm not a resentful person. I mean, I'm a Christian, I'm a Catholic. I believe in the Judeo-Christian, I guess it's just more Christian, line of forgiveness that, yes, you have to be contrite. So I'm not trying to rub it in their face. I'm not trying to make them wear a scarlet A on their forehead for the rest of their lives. I just don't think they're sorry for what they did. They, to this day, after they partnered with Dylan Mulvaney, they have given $200,000 to LGBTQ plus lobbying organizations. They're not sorry. They're just hoping that they can trick their consumers into thinking that they share our values, when I don't think they do.
I don't think they share our values, because their values are all bottom line driven. How much money can I make at Bud Light? And so I think it's an unfair standard to hold a business to the same standards and values of a human being. This is the best a business can do, because let's say they give the apology that you want. It's going to irritate and piss off a segment of the population and perhaps hurt their bottom line. That's all they care about. In this way, the $100 million.
I don't think it is, or they wouldn't have partnered with Dylan Mulvaney in the first place. You don't partner with one of the most prominent transgender activists that's so polarizing if you're worried only about your bottom line, because the majority of Bud Light's consumers are conservative. They disagree with the queer theory agenda. I think the reason that they partnered with Dylan Mulvaney was because the Corporate Equity Index, which is part of the Human Rights Council, or Human Rights Campaign, I should say, pressured them, said, if you don't promote transgenderism, we're going to publicly shame you and claim that you are not a friendly place for LGBTQIA ideology. So it wasn't about a bottom line when they partnered with Dylan Mulvaney. It was about virtue signaling woke ideology. So I don't think woke corporations anymore are just thinking about profit. I wish they were, actually, because they wouldn't be woke if they were doing that.
So let's say the LGBTQ crowd, they're upset, could be upset, and leftists could be upset with Bud Light spending $100 million on the most masculine sport we have in America and maybe in the world at this point. They partner with Dana White, an unrepentant Trump supporter. There's probably a lot of people on the left who are upset with Bud Light doing that. I don't think they will require Bud Light to make some public apology. They'll just be good. Hey, Bud Light, we need you to spend some money here and there. And again, I don't know if we should create a higher bar, a higher standard for corporations to live up to than the left is. They'll just take the check. They'll just take I'm just satisfied with their empowering a masculine sport and a founder of a company that supports our values, and he's being rewarded. And it's a signal to all the other commissioners and all the other sports and everybody else in pop culture that thinks, well, you can't make money unless you play ball and bend the knee to the left at every turn. I think Dana White winning here and the UFC benefiting here, it's going to encourage other leaders in the sports industry and the pop culture world is, hey, there may be some benefits to standing on your values and not bending the knee to the left.
And I think that's the message that was sent with the boycott of Bud Light, right? When consumers said, well, wait a second, we're not going to give our money to a corporation that isn't just a faceless brick and mortar store, right? A corporation is made up of boards that have political interests. And we know because of ESG scores and DEI offices that woke corporations are having an impact on people's lives, on employees' lives, on consumers' lives, on our children's lives. I mean, look no further than Target or Disney, let alone Bud Light, to understand the impact of these large corporations who themselves are being pressured into propagating wokeness by the ESG scores that are forced upon them by, you know, the large banking institutions or the globalists or the left at large at this point. And I found it very remarkable this past summer to see conservatives for the first time effectively boycotting. We've tried to boycott before and it's never really taken. It's never really had a huge impact. This was the first time that I think corporations, you know, they might not have said anything publicly, but they were like, whoa, did you see what happened to Bud Light? We can't be doing that. And that's a stronger message than allowing a corporation to buy their way back into your good graces. Again, how much does it cost to apologize? Do you think that the majority of consumers of Bud Light are, you know, transgender activists, or the majority of consumers of Bud Light UFC fans? I don't think they're going to lose a significant amount from their bottom line if they apologize, but it does set a precedent for other woke corporations that conservatives mean business. We understand that our entire culture is at stake here, and we can't back down from that.
We'll end on this note with this question. And I know you would prefer to have both, but if you could only have one, would you rather a company invest $100 million in a masculine sport like UFC and enrich a person like Dana White, or would you rather have a public apology? You can only have
100% a public apology, without question. Tell me that you were wrong, acknowledge that your ideology is harmful, and tell us that you regret it. The cultural precedent that was set, Jason, would be like nothing we've ever seen before.
You know what? I'm going to let the viewers decide. I want you to hop in the comments. What would you rather have? And thank you, Liz. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. What would you rather have? The $100 million investment in the UFC or a public apology? Who's right? Who's wrong? Tell us in the comments. If you really enjoyed this content, I need you to support a great new company that supports our values and our views. Unitas is the alternative. It's a new clothing company founded by NBA player Jonathan Isaac that offers a values-based alternative for stylish, high-quality sports and lifestyle apparel. Visit weareunitas.com. That's weareunitus.com. Make sure to use the promo code BLAZE1, that's the number 1, not spelled out, for free shipping at checkout. That's weareunitus.com, promo code BLAZE1. We'll see you next time. Help us grow the Fearless Army. Pound that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with all of your fearless friends.